it going out there today, boys and girls in sporting land? I just saw a little article yesterday and was reading on it again today. See where Scott Frost was retained at Nebraska. I think they're going to make some changes on the offensive staff for them. And a lot of people want to see Scott Frost fired. A lot of Nebraska fans want to see Scott Frost fired. But in this video, I'm going to make my case as to why they made the right move, in my opinion, boys and girls. I think they made the right move at Nebraska, a refreshing move, by trying to stick this thing out at least one more year, maybe two. But before I get to all that, I'd like to ask you guys and gals to like, share, comment, and subscribe to this channel. I am JPC. I am the college football outlaw, or the outlaw of college football, whichever one you want to say. It's on my banner and it's on my moniker there. But this is, and always will be, the home of the Common Joe and the Common Sally, and the know, even more so than all those media talking heads. Now, let's get right back to it here. Scott Frost has been at Nebraska, I think now going on his third season, maybe fourth. And he hasn't done very well so far. He hasn't had a winning season since he's been there. So at the end of this season, that will be, what, 4 straight losing seasons maybe? And so you're thinking to yourself, well, you know, most coaches would have been done fired by now. Well, there's a few things that's keeping him employed, in my opinion. One of them, my podcast partner and producer, Jonathan Lewis, mentioned. By the way, he's got a great podcast himself called College Football with Jonathan Lewis. Check that out. But he mentioned the fact that there's a lot of job openings right now. You got USC, LSU, possibly Florida, TCU, which TCU can't really compete with Nebraska in my opinion. But you've got a lot of big name programs out there looking for new coaches. So that could be one reason. But I don't think that's the main reason. The main reason I think they're sticking with Scott Frost is because they see exactly what I think they should see. And that's the fact that they've been really close this year. And I know for natural, historical powerhouses like Nebraska and their fan base, close is not good enough. That is well understood, believe me, because I'm a fan of Alabama. Now, but the thing is with me, the reason why I think the guy should be given at least a year or two more is because he didn't step into this to clean up one mess. And you know, when a new coach comes in, usually one's retired or one's gotten fired. And in a fired case, that's because the regime before didn't do so well and they left sort of a slight mess. Well, if it had been just one mess and one bad coaching change to Scott Frost, I could say yes, he might need to be let go this year. But this ain't just one coaching mess. This is a coaching mess that's been going on this entire century. You go back to Bo Pelini, Bill Callahan, Mike Riley. Not in no particular order there. I think it goes back Mike Riley, Bill Callahan, maybe Bo Pelini, or vice versa. I can't remember. But every single one of these coaches, now I know Bo Pelini did have some success, but not enough. But it goes back to all three of these coaches. This ain't just one coaching mess that Scott Frost is having to clean up. This is an entire century of coaching hires that he's having to clean up after. This all started back when Frank Solich was here, and he had a few subpar seasons, but he had some great seasons too, 10 and 11 win seasons at Nebraska, and they pushed him out because at the time, Nebraska was pretty spoiled. They had won 3 national championships in the 1990s under Tom Osborne. He was fallen a legend. So he had a lot to live up to. And I hope that this is actually a lesson for other major powers, like Alabama, for example, when Nick Saban steps down, that whoever follows him, you're going to have to give him a little leeway, because if you don't, you're going to end up having a situation like you have at Nebraska and at Tennessee somewhat as well. Maybe even to some degree Florida coming up. The lesson is here, is if someone's fallen a legend or someone that has had extraordinary success, you're going to have to give them a little more leeway. You can't expect them to come in and be able to win national championships at that same rate as a once-in-a-lifetime legend coach has done, like a Tom Osborne, like a Bobby Bowden, like a Joe Paterno, like a Bear Bryant, like Nick Saban. So it all goes back to Frank Solich. If they had not pushed Frank Solich out of that spot and let him stay a little bit longer, I think Nebraska football today would be all right. But because they forced him out and they've had 3 or 4 bad hires in a row, now you have the issue where players obviously don't want to play for a program that's not winning regularly. But then to compound matters, this didn't used to be a problem for Nebraska because they had the traditional power status. They had that label of a traditional power that, even though we're located out in the middle of nowhere, you come here, you're going to win, and you're going to go possibly to the NFL. Well, Nebraska don't have that anymore. Their traditional power status is somewhat lost its luster, so to speak, and they're located in a geographical nightmare to me. I mean, their biggest city is probably Omaha or Lincoln, and those don't actually just step out as big cities, like Milwaukee, Wisconsin, or Chicago, Illinois, or Nashville, Tennessee even, or Atlanta, Georgia. They're flat smack in the middle of nowhere, in a place where it's not only just cold weather, because cold weather is in Columbus, and it's in Michigan, Notre Dame, all those teams in the Big Ten have to deal with cold weather. So Nebraska's cold weather situation is not the only thing. It's because it's out in the middle of nowhere, like I just said. You got I don't know how many hours you got to drive to get to the beach. Probably nearest beach, maybe real good beach, would be Orange Beach in Alabama. For a Nebraska person, it'd be about, I'm just guessing, 18-hour drive maybe. I don't know. But all these matters have compounded the fact and led to what Scott Frost is dealing with. So I'm thinking, in my opinion, that you guys at Nebraska need to cut this man just a little more slack, more so than other coaches who have come in after a bad regime and had 3 or 4 more bad years. Because there wasn't just one bad regime, like I'm reiterating now. There was 3 or 4 bad regimes. And that's all I got to say about that. You guys and gals tell me what you think about the situation, whether you think they made the right and correct decision in retaining Scott Frost, or if you think he needs to be let go right now. And with that, I'm going to get off of here. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. The big 4, and the last one is the best one. Subscribe to this channel. And as always, KMCA to all the other teams.